Hi, I'm David James and you're watching the Redmen TV.
Hello, welcome to the Redmen TV. As we've already discussed, Brendan Rodgers has been terminated as Liverpool manager. I gave you my thoughts on that. There'll probably be one or two more creeping into this video as well, but I thought I'd go through some Twitter and Facebook reactions from Liverpool fans around the world. A real mixed bag on this one. I think there's the general tone I seem to have had is that I think a surprising amount of shock, considering that it's been building up for a number of months. But we'll get to we'll go to some comments in particular. First off, over on Twitter, Stuart Atkins says, "A little sad that it's come to an end, but something needed to change. All the best to Brendan Rodgers. # We are Liverpool." Eamon McLean III says, "Think Suarez made him look good. Playing players out of position doesn't help." At Dagda1 says, "I'd like to thank him for 2013-14, the most exciting team ever." SSB953 blah 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 SSB.com says, "Was not half as good as he thought he was, and I, for one, am convinced this is the right thing for the club." At Jeremy De Luna says, "I felt he had more of a positive impact than he did negative, but it feels like the timing is right if we are to press on." Spenno_77, "All the best to him, but I'm over the moon." Samuel Whiter says, "Gutted." At Fly Without Ings says, "He gave me the best season of supporting LFC in my life, but in the end the decision was the right one." It's a weird one. I will come to some Facebook in a moment. Like, the thing that gets me about this, and I think the most important thing I think people need to remember, is there's going to be loads of people who are like pigs and shit over this. There's a number of people who've set up Twitter accounts which are going to look very stupid shortly because he's gone and there's a waste of your time. I think Liverpool fans need to remember what we're supposed to be and supposed to show a modicum of decorum and a modicum of class. And the fact of the matter is, and as mentioned in a couple of those tweets there, let's remember the guy for the things he did well for Liverpool Football Club, because lest we forget the likes of Roy Hodgson, who never got the club in any way, shape or form. In any way, shape or form did he play a style of football that was becoming of what we would expect of a Liverpool team at any time during his very short tenure. And he was disrespectful to the fans as well. Brendan Rodgers came in without the best CV in world football, and you know, at the very least, at the very first of it, he talked the talk, and someone said, "Well, you know, you've then got to work up." You have, but the first thing you've actually got to do, you've got to get your chat right, and he got his chat right, because Roy Hodgson never got that right, and we've seen people, and you know what, even the second time around, Kenny Dalglish struggled with that as well. Brendan Rodgers, you know, for all of his faults, I think we want to be, what I hope is that we can look back on the aforementioned 2013-14 season and go, that was brilliant, that was amazing, one of those phenomenal seasons that kind of comes along every now and again, and let's not be disrespectful to what was achieved by the manager or the players that time. And I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of, it was all Luis Suarez, what did that? Well, yeah, Luis Suarez is a terrific player, but you know what, the players that played around him, the way they were set up, the manager does a lot of that, and you can't have one without the other. Basically, it's like love and marriage. But yeah, the fact of the matter is, what I hope is that in the fullness of time, the people with whom it's a bit raw, and it's understandably raw, can look back on it and go, you know what, that was great, and being a bit bellish about it can maybe get kicked to the curb a little bit. What's interesting, I actually spoke to Christian Walsh, who's at the Liverpool Echo. He says the move isn't surprising from Liverpool, but the timing is. If supporters are happy with the news, then don't get excited just yet. Don't get too excited just yet. He has to be replaced. That arguably is an even bigger decision than letting Rodgers go, which is, I think that's the spot on thing. And I talked on my reaction video about the grass being always greener. It's great that we've got him out, but ultimately there needs to be a more solid plan going forward from Liverpool, because things need to change at the highest level. FSG need to identify how we make Liverpool back into a competitive force, and they've given money, they have given money, but they've not given excesses of money, and Liverpool right now are not in a competitive position financially compared to the teams that are above us. You can call that an excuse all you want, but it's a cold hard fact of football. So making sure we get the right guy in, and making sure that he's not hampered or hamstrung in the same ways that Brendan Rodgers has been, is going to be vital to the approach. Just somewhere got an interesting reaction. I think Jamie Carragher said Liverpool are like Tottenham. They think they're a big club, but really they're not. And it's that, you know, you could get in a bit of trouble for saying things like that. You know, this is the guy who once said there were no bigger clubs than Liverpool, which shows how far Liverpool have fallen in the last 10 years. But I think what he's trying to drive at is then, this is the big concern, is that it's all well and good giving again, it feeds back into the same thing. It's all well and good giving a manager a boot, but do we as long as the expectations are realistic, and Liverpool do put massive expectations on the manager, and look, I want to see it too. We all want to see Liverpool get back to the top of the Premier League. We want to see Liverpool challenging and winning league titles. We want to see us back winning European Cups, and you know, there could well be managers who are going to be better equipped to do that. That's fine. There could be, but you know, there could equally not be, because there's every chance that another guy can come in and do exactly the same thing. And sometimes having that little bit of continuity. Let's use Everton as an example here, and this is not something I think a lot of people want to be hearing. Everton are above us in the table, yeah. Everton have by all accounts got an inferior squad and we all thought at the time an inferior manager, and yet they've kept him. They should have probably booted him at the end of last season because they were so poor compared to the season before, and he's got them playing a decent brand of football, and they're doing okay. Sometimes continuity is the answer. I'm not saying that was the thing for Liverpool, but that needs to be remembered. What we don't want to be is back here in 3 years' time going, Jurgen Klopp was a load of shit because he never really got it, and it always brand of football and blah 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 blah. Ultimately, at the minute, I think this is the closest we've had to unity in regards to, do Liverpool fans think a manager should go? That should probably be taken as should be taken to heart by the owners, and probably makes it the right decision to sack them. I asked my dad as well, and he's obviously regular on the show, for those who do watch. I'm shocked, but at least the owner's decisive, which is again something I mentioned on my match reaction. Let's get to some Facebook comments then. Ryan Bennison says, wish Brendan Rodgers well in his next job. Aaron Jackson says, why let him spend millions? Then it smells panic to me. Jay Thompson, shocked like just after the derby, but was coming. I know we have a break now before Spurs. Be good to see what happens now. Yeah, absolutely. Richard McGill says he was never good enough for LFC. I said it from day one. I disagree with that. But Neil Basin, 4 months too late. I think that's going to be the sticking point for a lot of people. Is that why not boot him? And again, I like the notion of it. I like the fact that Liverpool don't just kick managers out at the drop of a hat, but then ultimately, if the end result's the same, would we not have been in a better position for having a manager who was going to take us forward for the next 3 years, having a summer to bed himself in and get the players he wanted? That's going to be the big question mark. But plenty of positives. I mean, look, the simple fact of the matter is, because of the catastrophic season Chelsea have had so far, top four is very much there for the taking. Europa League still stands there. There's still 2 domestic cup competitions to be involved in as well. What we want is a guy to come in and take Liverpool and take us on an exciting ride. The simple fact of the matter is, this season's been shit, and it's been shit being a Liverpool fan this season. And I know there's probably Stockport County fans watching this going, what are you moaning about? But we've got higher standards than that. I just want to see Liverpool play well and win football matches, don't we all? And we just want things to tell our kids about, and the fact of the matter is, it's been a number of years, with the exception of the 2013-14 season, where we've really been able to do that. So we want a guy to do that. Who's going to be that manager? I do want to know your thoughts on that. Jurgen Klopp's been a big shout. Carlo Ancelotti's been a big shout. Is there anyone else that hasn't been mentioned that you'd like to see taking charge and sit in that Liverpool hot seat? Let me know that in the comment section below. I'll get one more comment in, I think, before we go. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to end on a nice one there. Jordan Everett just says, all the best, Brendan. And I think ultimately that's what we need to remember. Thanks very much, Brendan. Remember Brendan Rodgers for the good things he did for us, because ultimately he's not a bellend, he's not a dickhead, he's not a shit manager. He's just not been good enough to the standards we've set. Whether those standards are right or wrong, we'll know in the fullness of time, I guess. But anyway, I personally want to thank Brendan Rodgers for giving us some of the greatest moments that I've had as a Liverpool fan, some of the greatest football we ever seen. Remember the smashing Everton in the derby at Anfield, smashing Arsenal off the park, beating Man City, some of these great wins, these great moments, and taking us, because let's be fair, this is the guy who got, we didn't win it in the end, but he got a Premier League trophy inside Anfield, even though it was basically almost mathematically impossible. And that's the closest Liverpool have come to a league title since we last won one in 1990, and Brendan Rodgers has to take some credit for that. Unfortunately, it's not quite worked out for him, but particularly myself, and I will speak for Redmen TV on this. It's, you know, ultimately it looked like it was a necessary sacking, and Liverpool moved forward in that, but we want to wish Brendan Rodgers all the best, and hope that he doesn't end up being brilliant for a team that's going to cause us trouble in the future. Anyway, thoughts in the comments below, and we'll do more on this on a full-length subscriber show tomorrow on the redmentv.com, so do tune in for that. It should be a good one. Needless to say, we'll annotate that at the end of the video. It's completely free for everyone. Check it out. It's definitely going to be worth your while. Ta-ra. Liverpool Football Club announced that Brendan Rodgers will leave his post with immediate effect after having his contract terminated. The process to appoint a new manager is underway. Fenway Sports, in a group statement with John Henry, Chairman Tom Wynn and President Mike Gordon, said, we would like to place on record our sincere thanks to Brendan Rodgers for the significant contribution he's made to the club and express